morning, y'all, y buenos dias. So I'm here today to share with you guys my birth story. So this birth story is for Kwali, and he is my second baby. So if you guys are interested, then keep on watching. All right, so I'm gonna apologize in advance in case I'm going in and out, because if you guys are watching this, you guys know that I have two little ones. Luna, who is staring at me through the window, hola Lu, and Kwali, who is sitting in his little chair right now. So anyways, I'm gonna start this off by referring you guys to my other birth story if you guys haven't seen that one yet for Luna, and just letting y'all know how drastically different it was. Luna's birth story was also very positive, but this was really a life-changing experience that doesn't come close to anything else. It really was something just unexplainable. But anyways, let me get into it. Okay, so for this pregnancy, I was very focused on my meditation practice. I was also very focused on listening to my hypnobirthing books, which I think had a lot to do with how the labor itself went. Having Luna, I wasn't able to focus as much on the pregnancy itself in general because I had another kid running around and having to take care of her all the time. But I was very intentional, and I found and created time to sit down and meditate, to sit down to listen to my hypnobirthing books, and just being able to take that time, to create that time for myself, for this baby, I think was critical. I think was just so crucial in how great the labor went. And so with Luna, I had her at 39 weeks, which is kind of what I expected with this baby. But Kwali decided to come at 40 weeks and 3 days, which was a huge surprise, not only to me, but to my midwife as well, being that typically for second babies, they'll come a little bit faster, but that is definitely not what happened. And so I had been having contractions for about 2 weeks, nothing serious, nothing really intense, but just enough for me to notice, just enough for me to be like, whoa, is this early labor? Is this not? So during that time, I obviously had like my prenatal appointments, and I'd go see my midwife, and at one point I was 2 centimeters dilated. Didn't think anything of it. I didn't want to get hype. I didn't want to get myself excited about the possibility of being in labor. I was just trying to be chill about it. And then the next week I had my next appointment, and she said about 3.5 centimeters dilated, so slow progress. And yeah, I didn't want to get myself excited because I didn't want to be disappointed of like not being in labor. So then it is Mother's Day. So that Sunday we ended up going to Springfield, which is where the birthing center is, which is about an hour and a half from where we live. So we're there, and I'm having contractions, and I'm so excited because I'm like, we're already in Springfield. I had already had everything in the car. We had our bags packed. Everything was set. So I was really excited that if I was going into labor, it was the perfect time. I was going to have a little Mother's Day baby. It's going to be awesome. And so as the day is progressing, I'm slowly getting more and more excited, getting just mentally prepared for it. My contractions are getting closer and closer together. And so we're eating, and I'm just trying to stay really positive, trying to really feel everything that's in those moments. And then I decided to go to the park to try to get walking, to try to get the contractions going. And then pretty much as soon as we get to the park, my contractions just stop, like all of a sudden just stop. The contractions were never painful to begin with, but they just completely went away. And so once they went away, I immediately called my midwife, and I'm like, hey, I've been having contractions pretty consistently, and they're, X amount of minutes apart. What's going on? And she was like, well, I guess it's not labor. You need to go home, and you need to get some sleep. So I was really disappointed at that point because we were already in Springfield, so it would have been the perfect time. So we drive back home, no contractions, and I eat like a super big dinner and just read and listen to some more books and end up going to sleep. And at around 1 o'clock in the morning, my contractions start back up. So I'm like, okay, it's probably nothing again. And so I'm just having my contractions. My mom had flown in from Louisiana, so she was here. So I just get up and I go into the living room where my mom was hanging out, and we're just kind of talking, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm kind of feeling him again. Don't really know if it's for real, so we're just gonna hang out. I just let Zach sleep. I didn't even wake him up or anything. And so at around 2 o'clock, they're getting pretty intense, pretty close together, and I asked my mom to run a bath. So I go in the bath and I'm just hanging out, and I'm like, whoa, these contractions are getting pretty close together and a lot more intense. And so at about 2:30, I wake up Zach and I'm like, hey, I think we should head over. And so I text my midwife, and she said she'd be on her way over there. And at 3 o'clock, we leave. So at 3 o'clock, we leave here and we start driving over to Springfield. And that was always one of the things that I wanted to avoid, was to be in labor while in the car, because that just does not sound fun. But that's pretty much what ended up happening. And so I'm in the car, and my mom kept saying like, agarrame de la mano, like squeeze my hand. So like when the contractions come in, and I was like, no ma, like tengo que relajarme. I need to relax even more. I don't need to be tense. I don't need to, like, I need to relax. I was like, usted agárreme de la mano, and I'm just gonna relax. So she would grab my hand, and I'd be like, okay, ya viene, here comes another one. And I would just breathe. And the mantra that I kept telling myself was, I've done this before, I can do it again. I've done this before, I can do it again. And so that was like part one mantra, right? And so I'm in the car and I'm just doing full body scans, like relax your face, relax your eyes, relax your mouth, relax your shoulders, relax your chest. And I would just go down, down, down throughout the whole contraction. And I was pretty chill. We're almost there, and I'm like, okay, you know, this is the real deal. Like, I'm in labor. This is not a joke anymore. And so I get to the door of the birthing center, and it's locked, and everything's dark, and I'm like, there's no way. So the most intense contraction that I had so far hits me there, and I just like get down on my knees, and I just like just push through that contraction, just chill, just trying to stay centered and balanced. And my midwife opens the door, and Carla's like, oh, you're here. And so we go inside, and she asks, do you want me to check you? And Zach like hurries up and comes in, because Zach is my pro birthing partner. And so he comes in and he's like, you can check her, but just don't tell her, because he already knew that I didn't want to get like too excited if she would be like, oh, it's 8 centimeters, or you're still 3. You know, I didn't want it either way. And so as she's checking me, her eyes get like this big, and I'm like, you know, I try not to even focus on what she's doing. I'm just trying to focus on myself. And she's like, we should probably get you into the tub as fast as possible, because she knew I wanted a water birth. And so I was like, okay. I was like, but I need to get in the shower. I did the same thing with Luna, where I would just get into the shower and just let the water hit me. And that just felt like a renewal to me. I felt like my strength come up. And so I was in the shower. They started running the shower while filling up the tub. And as I'm in the shower, the water's just hitting me, and I'm just feeling these contractions getting stronger and stronger, but they're still not at the point of pain, right? And I had read and learned so much about this throughout all the books, that like if your brain is hardcore on one frequency, it can't be on another. Like, it literally can't. And so I was just so in the moment and so strong and so just unfazed. I was like, I have this. I am in full control, right? And so I go down and I feel a bulge, and I'm like, there's no way that the baby's coming already. And so my midwife comes in, she's like, okay, let's move you into the tub. The water wasn't even full yet in the tub. So I get in there, and I'm just super relaxed. I'm like almost scary relaxed, really. And so Luna is just talking to me, and I just remember giving her a kiss, and Zach gives me like a coconut water, and it's in a can, so I can't really drink it because like the contractions are like intense, and so it's like in a can, it's like uncomfortable. And so he's like, oh, I'll get you a straw. And my midwife was like, oh, we have straws right here, like the little disposable straws. And Zach's like, oh, we have a stainless steel in the truck. And so he runs out to the truck to get our stainless steel straw from our coconut water. And as he's going out, the baby starts coming out. And I just push, and my mom's like, Zach, vente, Zach, like calling Zach, and Zach sprints back inside. and Kwali is born at that moment. I mean, literally not even 2 pushes later, Kwali is out, and he was actually born in his water sack, which was so cool. So as he's coming out, my midwife like rips out the water sack, and I catch him and place him on my chest. And it was literally the most magical moment that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And yeah, well, I mean, I could literally go on and on forever just talking about how unreal and just magical it was. That's like the only way I can explain it, because I didn't know that I had that sense of control. With Luna, I felt very strong, but at the very end I was so drained. And with this, because it was such a short labor, it was we got to the birthing center at 4 o'clock and Kwali was born at 4:20. So in 20 minutes of being at the birthing center, he was born, and my contractions started at about 1:30. And so I had so much strength just because the labor wasn't that long. And so I was able to really focus and really be present in that moment, which is something that I've talked about throughout all of my update videos, that that's what I wanted. And I feel like I really just manifested this labor exactly how I wanted it to be. It was just so impeccably perfect to me. And I'm just so grateful and so glad to have had not only the resources as far as the books go, but also to have my family here and have them be so unbelievably supportive of all of the decisions that I've made throughout this pregnancy and throughout the labor. And so yeah, Kwali was born at 4:20, and he was around 7 pounds. He was 7 something, I don't even remember. And he was 19.5 inches, which is how long Luna was. And so yeah, he was like a pound heavier than Luna, which again, he's a bigger baby, he's a broader baby. So I figured that that would have been more intense on my body, but it was so much easier. And again, it's because they're 2.5 years apart. So my body was kind of like in the zone to have another baby a little bit easier, I would say. And yeah, that is my labor story, y'all. I can't even imagine it going any better than it did. It was just pure bliss. After he was born, we stayed in the tub for a little while. I just held him and we wrapped him up. And of course we delayed the clamping. And then once we did clamp, I just hung out in bed with him for like 2 hours, and he was just on me. He was able to latch on really quickly. He is a really intense nurser, just like Luna. And yeah, everything has just been so blissful and perfect so far. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful and so blessed to have had everything go as well as it did. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you guys. We often hear a lot of negative birth stories, and so I am so grateful that I had such a great experience, and I want to share that with all of y'all, to know that labor doesn't have to be this horrible experience. It could be beautiful. And yeah, it's intense, and yeah, nobody's saying it's easy, but it doesn't have to be terrifying. We are strong, incredible, just beings of light. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all. So if you guys have any questions, send them over to my Instagram. Tlazocamahti for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.